It all started with a gaping hole inside me, a canyon carved out by a lifetime of quiet disappointments, culminating in a divorce that felt less like a separation and more like an amputation. I was 45, living in Portland, a city that usually felt vibrant, but to me, then, was just a canvas for my gray existence. I'd always been a seeker, a man who believed there was more to life than the daily grind, something deeper, something spiritual. But after my marriage crumbled, that search became a desperate scramble. I felt adrift, purposeless, like a boat with no rudder, just floating, waiting for the next storm. I needed an anchor, a direction, a reason to believe again. And then, I found the sanctuary. Or, more accurately, the sanctuary found me. I saw a flyer for a free introductory workshop. Discover your true self. Find your purpose. Join our community. The words vibrated with the very longing that hollowed me out. The place itself, nestled in the serene foothills outside the city, felt like a breath of fresh air. It was all organic wood and natural light, filled with a gentle hum of quiet contemplation. Then I met Mother Anya. She was magnificent. Her voice, soft yet resonant, had a hypnotic quality, like wind chimes in a calm breeze. Her eyes, the color of warm honey, seemed to look right into my soul, understanding all my unspoken pain. She spoke of universal consciousness, of shedding ego, of a path to enlightenment that felt both ancient and refreshingly modern. I felt an immediate, profound connection, a sense of belonging I hadn't realized I was so starved for. It was like coming home to a place I'd never known, but always dreamed of. Brother Michael was her shadow, her loyal right hand. He had a quiet intensity, always observing, always attentive. He'd approach you with a warm smile, a comforting hand on your shoulder, asking about your journey, your struggles. He seemed to genuinely care. He told me he saw a deep spiritual potential in me, a dormant wisdom waiting to be awakened. He said Mother Anya had a special vision for me, for all of us who were truly committed. I remember feeling a surge of pride, a giddy lightness in my chest. Finally, someone saw me, truly saw me, beyond the failures and the heartache. I started attending every session, every retreat. My life savings, accumulated over years of careful living, felt like a small offering compared to the boundless peace and purpose they promised. I donated, not out of obligation, but out of a fervent belief that I was investing in my salvation, in a better world. I convinced myself that the gentle nudges towards financial contributions were just part of supporting the community, a communal effort to maintain this beautiful haven. The first red flags, subtle as autumn leaves turning, were easy to dismiss. Why did Mother Anya always have to approve who I spoke to about the teachings? Why did my previous spiritual readings suddenly feel outdated and misguided compared to the sanctuary's wisdom? These were just tests, I reasoned, challenges to my ego, part of the process of letting go of old paradigms. As I delved deeper, the outside world started to feel abrasive, distant. Mother Anya often spoke of the noisy frequencies of modern life, the toxic attachments that tethered us to suffering. She encouraged us to shed these burdens, to purify our minds and spirits. For me, this translated to gradually detaching from friends who couldn't understand my newfound path, who questioned my choices with concern in their eyes that I interpreted as judgment. My phone calls became fewer, my emails unanswered. The sanctuary became my entire universe. I moved into one of the smaller, communal dwellings, a Spartan room with a single bed and a small desk, which felt like a monastic cell dedicated to spiritual practice. This wasn't a sacrifice, it was liberation. Or so I believed. My finances, too, shifted. Regular donations became expected, then encouraged, then subtly demanded. Brother Michael, in his gentle, almost paternal way, explained that true commitment meant placing one's resources entirely in the hands of the divine, channeled through Mother Anya's vision. He helped me set up recurring transfers, assuring me it was for the greater good, for expanding the sanctuary's reach, for building a better future for all. I felt a pang of unease as my savings dwindled, but then he'd speak of spiritual abundance, of how the universe would always provide for those who served its higher purpose. He'd remind me of the emptiness I felt before and the profound peace I now experienced, tying my financial sacrifices to my newfound serenity. And the peace was real, wasn't it? A fragile, manufactured piece, perhaps, but at the time, it felt like the only solid ground I had. The pressure mounted in imperceptible ways. Group meditations stretched for hours, punctuated by Mother Anya's hypnotic chanting, which left me feeling lightheaded and suggestible. Discussions often centered on the dark forces outside the sanctuary, the deceitful illusions of the secular world. My own thoughts, once a jumbled mess of anxieties, began to feel clearer, cleaner, less my own and more reflective of the teachings. Brother Michael became my assigned spiritual guide, my constant companion in this journey. He'd meet with me daily, often late into the night, dissecting my dreams, analyzing my deepest fears, turning every personal insecurity into an opportunity for spiritual growth, guided by the sanctuary's wisdom. He told me my estranged daughter, Lily, was a source of attachment that I needed to release. She represented the old, materialistic world, he'd say. Her desire to reconnect was a selfish pull, a test from the universe to see if I was truly committed to my higher path. He'd paint pictures of her as someone who couldn't understand my spiritual evolution, who would only drag me back into the mire of worldly concerns. A knot formed in my stomach every time I heard her name, but I pushed it down, believing Michael knew best. He had Mother Anya's ear, after all. He was further along on the path. He knew the way. The thought of Lily, however, lingered like a ghost, a quiet ache beneath the manufactured calm. Then came the special mission. Mother Anya called a private meeting with me, Brother Michael present. Her eyes, usually so warm, had a sharp, knowing glint. She said the universe had revealed to her a unique destiny for me, a crucial role in expanding the sanctuary's light to the wider world. It involved a substantial personal investment, liquidating my remaining modest assets, including a small inheritance from my grandmother I'd held onto, and transferring it all to a new trust fund managed by Brother Michael. This fund, she explained, would finance the first wave of a global outreach program, a spiritual seed fund. I hesitated. My grandmother's money, it was meant for something else. But Anya's voice was like velvet steel. She spoke of my unique spiritual resonance, how only I possessed the pure energy needed to initiate this sacred project. She said any doubt was just my ego, clinging to worldly possessions, holding me back from my true calling. Brother Michael nodded gravely, adding that true faith required complete surrender, absolute trust. He even mentioned how much Lily, in her current unawakened state, would misunderstand, how she'd try to sabotage my spiritual progress out of her own fear and ignorance. That was the twist, the gaslighting I'd later replay 1,000 times in my head. He used Lily, the one person I still harbored a deep, unacknowledged love for, against me. He made my natural paternal concern feel like a spiritual weakness. I remember my hands trembling as I signed the papers, the ink bleeding slightly on the line. A cold dread seeped into my bones, a tiny voice screaming that this was wrong. But Mother Anya's smile, gentle and reassuring, seemed to quell it. She placed a hand on mine, her touch sending a jolt, a mixture of fear and profound relief, through me. "You are truly devoted, Julian," she whispered. "The universe will reward your sacrifice tenfold." My vision blurred slightly, and I felt a wave of dizziness. Was this enlightenment? Or just the sheer terror of letting go of everything? My chest felt tight, my breath shallow. I pushed down the discomfort, convincing myself it was the purification process, the old self dying. I had to trust. I had to believe. Anything else felt like falling back into the abyss I'd clawed my way out of. The absolute breaking point came like a sudden, brutal shockwave. For weeks, I'd been rejecting Lily's calls, returning her letters unopened, just as Michael had instructed. He said she was trying to siphon off my spiritual energy, infecting my progress with her negative vibrations. But one afternoon, as I was tending to the sanctuary's organic garden, feeling strangely empty despite the vibrant greens around me, a familiar, desperate voice called my name. Lily. She stood at the edge of the property, her face streaked with tears, holding a thick envelope. My heart hammered against my ribs, a trapped bird. Brother Michael materialized beside me almost instantly, his expression a mask of stern disapproval. "Julian, you know this person is not welcome here," he said, his voice low and threatening. She carries ill will. But Lily ignored him. Dad, please. Just look at this. She practically threw the envelope at me. Inside, there were documents. Anonymous, she said, mailed to her after she posted a desperate plea for help on an online forum. My hands shook as I pulled out the first page. It was a newspaper clipping, yellowed with age. A small town, a different name, a fraudulent charity scheme, and a photo of a younger Mother Anya, looking almost identical. My blood ran cold. Then came the ledger, a meticulously kept, handwritten record of donations, cross-referenced with bank accounts. I didn't recognize. My name was there, next to staggering sums, followed by entries detailing lavish expenditures, designer clothes, luxury vehicles, private jets, real estate in tropical locations, all under names associated with Mother Anya and Brother Michael. My special mission money, my grandmother's inheritance, every cent I'd ever given, carefully accounted for, showing exactly where it went. Not to a global outreach, but to their extravagant, hidden lives. The world tilted. The organic garden, the serene buildings, the very air of the sanctuary, suddenly felt suffocating, poisonous. I looked at Lily, her face etched with pain and worry, and then at Brother Michael, whose smile had vanished, replaced by a cold, calculating stare. My stomach clenched, while rising in my throat. I stumbled, feeling like I'd been punched in the gut, my lungs seizing up. What is this? I croaked, the papers rustling in my trembling hands. Michael snatched the ledger from me, his face contorting with rage. This is a fabrication. Lies. Slander designed by dark forces to disrupt your path. He turned to Lily, his voice dripping with venom. You, child, are a tool of negativity. You are trying to steal Julian's spirit, to pull him back into the abyss. But his words, usually so potent, bounced off a new, hardening shield inside me. I looked at the clipping again, then at the ledger. The truth, stark and undeniable, was staring me in the face. It wasn't a test. It wasn't my ego. It was a scam. I found myself walking, almost blindly, toward Mother Anya's private residence, the largest and most ornate building, a place I'd always viewed with reverence. I barged in, the door creaking loudly. Mother Anya was there, sipping herbal tea, radiating an aura of calm that now felt utterly repellent. Julian, she said, her voice still smooth, but with an underlying edge of steel. What is the meaning of this intrusion? I threw the newspaper clipping and a page from the ledger onto her polished table. This is the meaning, I said, my voice shaking uncontrollably. This is your past. This is where my money went. Her honey eyes narrowed. The gentle mask slipped completely. You have allowed yourself to be infected, she said, her voice dropping to a low, dangerous growl. You have entertained the demons of doubt. This daughter of yours, she is an agent of chaos, sent to destroy your spiritual awakening. Brother Michael appeared in the doorway behind me, blocking my exit, his presence suddenly menacing. You are unworthy, Julian. Anya continued, her voice rising in pitch, her eyes glittering with cold fury. You have betrayed our trust, our sacred mission. You are polluted by the outside world. Her words were meant to cut, to gaslight me back into submission, to make me doubt what I saw with my own eyes. But something had snapped. The image of Lily, her face desperate to reach me, her unwavering belief in my worth despite my rejections, solidified everything. I saw the cold calculation in Anya's eyes, the utter lack of genuine human emotion, just a predator defending her territory. My enlightenment wasn't a journey. It was a cage, exquisitely crafted with my own hopes and dreams. The pain was excruciating, a raw wound ripped open, but beneath it, a sliver of terrifying clarity began to bloom. I wasn't unworthy. She was a fraud. I barely remember the next few minutes. It was a blur of searing pain and a desperate, primal need to escape. My carefully constructed world, built on hope and vulnerability, imploded. The profound betrayal hit me like a physical blow, knocking the air from my lungs. My knees buckled, and I felt a guttural sob tear from my chest. This wasn't just losing money. It was losing my soul, my last shred of faith in humanity. Every moment of peace, every meditation, every sacrifice, every hopeful prayer, it was all a lie. I felt like a foolish, gullible old man, stripped bare, exposed. Shame washed over me, so potent it made me dizzy. How could I have been so blind? So utterly, ridiculously naive? Lily, bless her stubborn, unwavering heart, was there. She must have followed me. She stood defiantly in the doorway of Anya's residence, refusing to be intimidated by Michael. She saw the collapse in my eyes, the moment my world shattered. She didn't say a word. She just stepped forward, took my arm, and started to lead me away. Brother Michael lunged, but Lily, surprisingly strong, pushed him back. "Don't touch him," she yelled, her voice trembling but firm. "He's leaving." Anya just watched us, a chilling, triumphant smirk playing on her lips, as if she knew I was too broken to ever truly break free. But I moved. My feet, heavy and unresponsive moments before, started to carry me. Lily's hand was a lifeline, pulling me from the wreckage. My body felt like it was moving through thick mud, every muscle screaming in protest. But the awakening had begun. It was ugly, agonizing, filled with flashes of searing anger and profound grief. I saw every manipulative word, every subtle nudge, every false promise for what it truly was. Each memory was a shard of glass, cutting deeper. My spirit was a raw, exposed nerve. Leaving the sanctuary was not just a physical act. It was a seismic shift within my very being. We drove away in Lily's beat-up sedan, the commune growing smaller in the rearview mirror, shrinking until it was just a sinister speck on the horizon. I didn't look back. I couldn't. I just stared straight ahead, tears streaming down my face, the dam finally breaking. I was financially ruined, emotionally shattered, and completely adrift. But this time, the abyss felt different. It was a familiar darkness, but now, a flicker of light, small and fragile, pulsed within me. It was the light of truth, however painful. It was the undeniable warmth of Lily's hand clasping mine, a real, authentic connection. The first few years were a blur of intense, deprogramming therapy. I was a shell, constantly questioning my reality, paranoid, distrustful of everyone and everything. My therapist, a kind, patient woman named Dr. Evans, helped me unravel the tangled mess in my mind, separating my true self from the indoctrination. She helped me understand the insidious nature of cults, how they prey on vulnerability, exploit longing, and systematically dismantle identity. It was a long, painful process of rebuilding, piece by painstaking piece. I had to learn to trust my own instincts again, to recognize genuine compassion from manipulative charm. I had to mourn the loss of my savings, yes, but more importantly, I had to grieve the man I was before the sanctuary, the man who was so desperate for purpose that he allowed himself to be enslaved. Lily was my rock. She never judged, never pressured. She just loved me, patiently, unconditionally. She helped me navigate the practicalities of my new, broken life, and more importantly, she helped me heal my spirit. We spent countless hours talking, crying, remembering. She told me about her years of worry, her desperate attempts to reach me, how her heart broke every time I rejected her. Hearing her story, the true depth of her love, was both heartbreaking and profoundly restorative. It was in those honest, messy conversations that I found true connection, true purpose. Not in grand spiritual promises, but in the gritty, beautiful reality of human bonds. Today, years later, I am not the same man who drove away from the sanctuary. The scars are there, deep and visible, but they no longer define me. I still live in Portland, but the city feels vibrant again, full of genuine connection and honest challenges. I've rebuilt my life, not with grand financial schemes, but with quiet resilience. I volunteer at a local community center, working with at-risk youth, helping them navigate a world that can often feel confusing and overwhelming. I've also found a new voice, a powerful one. I speak at support groups, sharing my story with others who have escaped high-control environments. I've collaborated with law enforcement, offering insights into the psychological tactics of these groups, helping others avoid the trap I fell into, or escape if they're already ensnared. It's a way of reclaiming my past, of turning my pain into purpose. My words are raw, vulnerable, but they are also imbued with the strength of survival. My relationship with Lily is the greatest blessing of my life. We are closer than ever, a testament to forgiveness and enduring love. We hike in the very foothills where the sanctuary once stood, but now, the landscape feels cleansed, peaceful. The memories are still there, a chilling echo, but they no longer hold power over me. I finally understand that true enlightenment, true purpose, isn't found in a charismatic leader or a hidden commune. It's found in the honest embrace of another human being, in the messy, beautiful reality of life, in the quiet courage to face your own truth, and in the unwavering commitment to helping others find theirs. I am Julian Hayes, and I am free.